This podcast is for you. Your co-hosts, Ben Dodge and Eric Huso at Effect Epic Consulting, believe that your potential is limitless. Tapping into this potential is how you can affect epic results in your life, relationships, and business. Welcome to the Principles of Epic Growth.
How you doing, Eric?
Fantastic, brother. How are you?
Fantastic. Today, we get to talk about how to build a team, why that's important. And we're talking an incredible team.
Yeah, we're not talking about mediocrity. We're not just talking about getting a group of people together. We are talking about a team in the true sense of the word team, where you together create incredible, epic results.
I mean, if you're going to go all in life, and by the way, that I submit to you, that's the only way to live. If you're not going all in, then you're just accepting, for example, to be average, right? And this mediocrity is not something I refuse to be average. So to go all in life, in business, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, you have to create, a group of individuals around you that are as committed and dedicated to what your vision is as you are, and they each will play a vital role in supporting and encouraging and fueling your fire. And that's the kind of team we're going to talk about today, because there's no way you can go, on this epic scale of achievement without a team.
Yeah. I love what you said about creating a team around you, because this isn't just going to happen spontaneously. This is something that will be intentional, that you will create with a clear intention in mind of what you're committed to, what result you're trying to get, and then create the team that will help you accomplish that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have this affinity towards the Navy SEALs. I've never been a Navy SEAL, but if I could go back in life, I would probably try and do that. I just think they're awesome. And there are so many books and movies and self-help programs really centered around some of their core concepts. And that's not by accident. I mean, there's a reason these individuals or this organization, the Navy SEALs, are worth studying. They operate on an efficient level, really under extreme stress with really high stakes. And their success rate is like unmatched.
Yeah. Yeah, that combination of efficiency and excellence in the most extreme circumstances is really unmatched by any team on this planet.
Yeah, and their standards are never, they're absolutely never forsaken. They never give up on each other. And that's the other thing. They never give up on each other, by the way, right? So not only do they not give up on their missions, but they don't give up on each other. The degree of loyalty and how they have each other's backs. But again, their skill set, they're highly skilled at what they do. And individually, each of them have these incredible skills, and together they work collectively as a team. So one of the interesting things to note about Navy SEALs, in general, in most cases, they operate intentionally in groups of 4 to 6 people.
Yeah. Yeah. Each one has a specific skill set that lends to the overall skill set of the team. It's, they're all incredible athletes. They're all extremely intelligent. And they all have this ability to work together, to have this mindset of team over self, that if my teammate fails, then I fail. But not only that, but they also have an individual skill set that's unique to them, that complements the team, that together they just create this force that, the results speak for themselves. Yeah. It's epic.
Yeah, it is epic. They really do achieve things on an epic scale under epic circumstances. They get up and do things, in the mornings and at nights, and they train, their missions, the day-to-day things that they do, 90% of, the world isn't even willing to do. So it's incredible. I think it's insightful that they operate in groups of 4 to 6 people, typically no more. They might have several groups of 4 to 6 people all in one mission, but in terms of their chain of command and their organization, it's 4 to 6 people. There's a huge ask there. Why, right? Why do they limit the amount of people in a group to 4 to 6?
Yeah, I think it partially goes back to this principle of commitment that we talked about already, that, people will say they're committed to this and 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 this, and the reality is, as a human being, with the limitations that we have of 24 hours in a day, it's impossible to be committed to a long list of things in the true sense of the word. Well, that same mentality exists in a team setting, where you can say that you'll be available for all 100 of your employees. But do the math. That's impossible. Really, to be truly committed to a human being in that employee that's on your team, you've got to limit it. And the SEALs have got that number down pretty good, that 4 to 6, right?
Yeah, so as a leader, if we're talking about you now listening, you're going to create this team around you, whether it's a particular business setting that you're trying to really just go all in on, and you want to take your business to the next level, your employment to the next level. If it's your family, if it's your, maybe you want to do your first Ironman triathlon, whatever it is, like you're going to want to create this team around you. And as the leader of your team, like your effectiveness is going to essentially run out once you get more than 4 to 6 people. The more people you add onto that, the less ability you have to influence them, to be able to hold them accountable in any kind of effective way. I mean, it just kind of, the whole thing starts breaking down. So that high level of effectiveness is really interesting, and something worth mirroring in our own lives is the 4 to 6 people concept. Now, obviously, the Navy SEALs have more than 4 to 6 people in their whole, branch of the military. So how do they do that? Well, they organize in bunch of groups of 4 to 6 people.
Yep.
And then those people all report to, another leader who's a part of a 4 to 6 man team, who then reports to another leader who's part of 4, and so on. And I would love to see more businesses set up this way. I would love to see more, giant corporations, school districts, little small medical offices. I don't care where it is. Why not set it up with, the leader of whatever this organization is, who's effectively associating and teaching and training and holding responsible and accountable a group of no more than 4 to 6 people, who in turn then go to their groups of 4 to 6 people and teach, train, and hold accountable all the way down.
Yep. No, that's super powerful. Thought that I had when I was a kid, my dad used to buy frozen orange juice, and it would come in a can in the freezer section.
I love frozen orange juice. I used to cheat and just eat it by the spoon. Just open it up, man. That's great.
My dad cheated the opposite way. So, you get the 1 can of the concentrate, and then you add 3. You fill that can up 3 times to do it. Well, he would always fill it up 4 times.
Try to stretch it out a little.
Yeah, to stretch that out. And, it was still orange juice.
Right.
And it still gave you the same amount of calories overall in the end, but it was diluted. It wasn't as powerful as it was intended to be. And that's what happens when we extend our teams beyond that 4 to 6. It's effective. It's still there. It still happens, but it's diluted, and it's not as powerful. It's not as concentrated. And so, if you're in your mind saying, well, I really have 10 people that I need to have report to me directly, think about why you're saying that. Who on your team are you not trusting to take on more responsibility that can take a couple of those team members so that you can limit that to that 4 to 6 number?
And from a leadership perspective, the real, authentic question we should all be asking ourselves is, can we not trust this person because that person is no good? Or can we not trust this person because we suck as a leader in giving out trust? So I've spoken with countless business owners who have a very, very, very difficult time hiring people because their standards in some cases are just too high. I mean, they don't trust anybody to do the job as well as they can do it. I mean, my advice to them honestly is, you're probably right. You're probably the best at this, is why you set up your whole business around this. But unless you want to stay small time, you better start hiring people and trusting them and teaching them how to do what you do to some level, to some extent.
Yeah.
So the authentic question that really requires a little bit of thought, I think, on all of our parts is, if I'm not trusting somebody to do something for me, who they work for me, is that them or is that me? Whatever it is, fix it.
Yeah.
Just fix it.
Yeah. You don't want people on your team you can't trust.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you can't trust people, if it's you that's the problem and you have that trust issue, then you really have to look at your leadership. What is it in your way of being that's limiting your influence, that's limiting that? And the result of that, we've all seen it in our own lives, is you're running 100 miles an hour. Every day you're banging your head against the wall wishing there's 30 hours in a day because you have so much to do. And there's not enough time to do it because you haven't sufficiently empowered the people around you to handle things.
Yeah, and so this is what we're talking about. We're talking about achieving, success on this epic level, and we can define success some other day, and you can define it yourself, whatever your definition is. But if you want to go big, I mean, you want to go all in life, and you want more. You want more than what you've got. You have to have a team around you, and you have to have a team around you that you can trust. So, this is intentional. You're intentionally building an organization, an empire. And you're going to start with 4 to 6 people around you that are as committed and obsessed about your vision as you are. And those people, I mean, don't surround yourself with doubters, haters, naysayers. I mean, that's why. I mean, that's just so counterproductive.
Yeah, that negative energy will just limit you, right? And they don't have to be, like Ben said, they don't have to be as perfect as you or as good as you, at least initially. What you want is you want people who value the same things you value, that their integrity is impeccable, their commitment is undeniable, that they're authentic, because then you know what you're working with. If somebody's not authentic, then you don't know what you're working with, and you'll find out later on, in that process of working together. If they're not committed, then that's going to manifest itself in behaviors and results later on. And if they don't have integrity, that's just going to slow down workability, and you're not going to be really effective, as we talked about when we discussed integrity. So as long as there's some alignment with some of these core principles, these epic principles of commitment, alignment, integrity, authenticity, then you can work with someone, right? Then somebody can become as passionate as you are. Somebody can become as incredible as you are.
Passion and vision, in my experience, is contagious, and it should be. So, one of the leader's responsibilities, your responsibility, if you're going to build a team around you, is to share your passion, your vision, your dream in such a way that those around you can't help but want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
They can't help but to want to jump on board. And those are the people that you invite. They may or may not have a specific skill set. We'll talk about, that a little bit later about how we're going to build a team and who you should probably incorporate. But in general, it's your job, not theirs, to get excited about your vision and passion so much so that they get excited about it. And if they don't jump on board, ask them. Look, you don't have to compromise your vision here. This is your vision. Ask them. But before you just start whacking people and cutting people out of your life and organization, just double check yourself. Is it your fault that they don't have that passion and vision yet? Is it your fault as a leader that they're not doing their job quite right because you don't trust, you didn't train, you didn't hold accountable? That we can go on and on and on. So, but at the end of the day, I submit to you, get all in life. Like this orange juice example, I love this example. Don't dilute it. Just take a spoon and start eating that thing. I mean, this is your vision, your dream.
I don't know about taking a spoon and eat that.
I love that as a kid. Even the cookie dough my mom used to make, it never made it to the oven, man. Yeah. I'd grab that bowl, I'd start going to town. So the thing is we're talking about your vision and your passion. Jump all in and then be really intentional about who you surround yourself with, because that can make or break it.
Yeah. Now, as you're deciding, who you're going to have on your team, first and foremost, like Ben said, if you're having struggles on your team, the number one question isn't what's wrong with them. It's what is it with my way of being that's created them that way? What is it with my way of being that's allowed this to happen? Then you as the leader have to authentically analyze your strengths and weaknesses. What are my strengths? Are people limiting my strengths that I've surrounded me with? What are my weaknesses? Have I put people in places to help compensate and complement my weaknesses so that, I'm plugging holes, so to speak, where I've got those holes so that I can be whole as a leader?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back to the Navy SEAL just for a second, because it's really pretty good way to highlight this principle here. If they're going on a specific mission, you got to imagine there's 4 to 6 of them. Each of them are going to have a basic skill set that is in common, and that skill set is incredible. It's really cool. They all can kill bad guys. They can all, stealthily
physical
sneak around.
specimens,
Yeah.
critical thinking skills.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I love it. Super, super commitment, and it just loyalty and their trust. There's a whole bunch of things that they have in common. Above and beyond this incredible, like, basic level of experience and training, they each are going to have individual training. There's going to be a medic. There's going to be a sniper. There's possibly a communications guy, a demolition guy. They're going to build this team up around the mission. This vision, this goal, this mission, they're going to be mission oriented. They're going to be on task, and they're going to have this team set up, and those guys are going to be expert in their roles, and they're all going to work together towards that common goal. So see, that's the other thing about a team. They're working together towards a common goal. They're not each individually, going on a camping trip, and they're out there together. They're sacrificing for each other. They share the same vision. And if they don't initially buy off on the mission in the beginning, it's interesting to read their books about how they do this. They'll ask enough questions until they can believe in it, and then they go.
Yep. Reminds me of Jim Collins' analogy in his book Good to Great. So in his analogy, he's got this analogy of a bus, and you've got to get the right people on the bus, and you've got to get the wrong people off the bus. And the wrong people doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just, if you're trying to go to point A and other people are trying to go to point B, you want to get those people off that bus so they can get on the bus that'll take them to point B. So it's not about hurting people's feelings. It's not about, I don't like this person. It's, that person's not going where we're going, to point A. And so you've got to get the wrong people off the bus. You got to get the right people on the bus. Once you got the right people on the bus, now you got to get the right people on the bus in the right seats, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where these individual skill sets come. As you work with someone, you'll identify perhaps some skill sets that didn't come up in an interview or that weren't listed on a resume. So you got to be awake to the strengths and weaknesses of everyone on this team so that you can shift people around and put them in the right seat so that you have the most effective team.
Yeah, so let's use NASCAR. Now, look, I'm not a redneck NASCAR fan, but some of you out there might be.
But he's a redneck bicycle fan.
Whatever. Okay, let's go to NASCAR. And honestly, if your vision is to win NASCAR and you're going all in, you're passionate about this. This is your life. You've invested your time, your energy, your money. You are all in on this NASCAR, and you now have the opportunity to build a team around you to make that happen. Let's potentially go over 3 different scenarios. 1, you build your pit crew with some NASCAR fans from the stand. They know NASCAR.
Yeah, they do.
They love NASCAR.
Eat, drink, and sleep it.
They write NASCAR on their bellies, and they're up there cheering or whatever they do with their beer hats and stuff, NASCAR, right? And they stand around as pit crew. You pull in, and they just look at each other, and all they can do is take a selfie of the car because they're so excited about it. They don't even know what they're doing down there. 1 or 2 of them might know something about the car, but you basically just brought in people that are a fan. They're in love with the concept of winning NASCAR, but they don't have any skills. All right. What if instead you surround yourself with a pit crew and every single one of those people is an expert in changing the oil? They know everything about changing the oil. You go in, you pit, but you need tires.
You're in trouble.
Now what? Not a single one of them knows how to change a tire.
Or they have an idea of it, and they might not be as efficient.
Exactly. Obviously, the final example would be you surround yourself with a pit crew, and every single one of them has an individual, specific skill set that complements the other, and together, as a combined group or organism of 4 to 6 people, you are crushing this pit crew. This pit stop. These guys are on it, and in seconds, you've got oil changed, tires swapped, engine checked, and fluids topped off, and windshield wiped, and cold drink handed to you, whatever they do. I don't know. That's essentially what you want to do in life, in business. In whatever your pursuits are. Why bum around with a bunch of fans?
No.
Why surround yourself with people who only are sometimes excited, but don't have the skill set to accomplish what you want. So I'm thinking specifically of employees. You know, I have the opportunity to have employees. Well, I'll tell you, like, you have to surround yourself with employees that not only have this fan level excitement for working for you. I mean, that's like a minimum, and that's something I don't compromise my standards on. You're not excited to be here? Get out. Like, I'll find somebody else.
We're doing something amazing.
Yeah,
we don't have time for that.
I don't have time for that. Yeah, this, I'm doing something in this world. I want to change the world. I want to leave a dent in it. So I don't have time for people that don't even have that basic level of excitement. So, but I also know that I need to have people that have specific skill sets, and individually they're going to crush it. They're going to do their job exactly as they're supposed to, and they're good at it. And in some cases, in most cases, maybe they're better than me at it, and that's why I hired them. Together, though, you string together a group of those kind of people, all working towards the same common goal. Man, that is success.
Yeah. You see that in sports organizations too. With the basketball team. Every player, you got 5 players on the court. Each player has a different role. And, the Phoenix Suns, they tried a model where they had 3 point guards. It didn't work. Ended up blowing up the team. You can't have 3 point guards on the floor. As theoretically as that sounded like a possibility, in reality it didn't work. On a football team, you have 1 quarterback on the field. You have a couple receivers, tailback. You got linemen. Like, everybody has a specific skill set and a specific role, and they're all excellent in their role. Like, a running back isn't going to be a good lineman, and a lineman isn't going to be a good receiver, and receiver isn't going to be a good quarterback, and you don't need them to be. They're all committed to the same thing. They're all passionate about football. They all want to win, and each one has a unique skill set that combined together creates this team that's unstoppable.
Yeah, I love it. In fact, I was born a couple hundred years too late, because I would have loved to have been a pirate.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Yeah, you've sailed across the seas.
We could segue someday into a short story where I bought a boat in Mexico because I thought that'd be a good idea. And it's not, by the way. Boats in Mexico, they got holes in them. Anyways, I bought a sailboat in Mexico, and I was going to sail it around the world, or at least down to Cozumel, around the point, and up to Cozumel, yeah. And then I learned that was way too far. That'd take 4 months or something. By the way, I taught myself how to sail on YouTube. I mean, that's just how committed I was. I was just going to do whatever it took. YouTube was easy. So, yeah, short story is I was lost at sea for a day and a half, and it was stormy, and it was rough. Yeah, we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, that'll be a good story.
So anyways, but I would love to have been a pirate. Now, I think about these big sailing ships back in the day, whether it was pirate ships or, trading ships or whatever, even modern big ships, battleships, whatnot, that crew, that crew is efficient, and they each know their job, and it takes a crew, right? Like, so here's where we examine ourselves as leaders in the community, in our businesses, and our families. Can I sail that ship by myself? No way. I might know something, if not everything, about every one of those assignments and duties that the crew share, right? Like, I might know how to do each one of their jobs, but on my own, I can't sail that ship. At least not effectively. I mean, I might be able to keep it from sinking, but like, I can't point it in a good direction and get there as fast as possible without their help. Now, here's an interesting reverse thought or question about that. How about the crew? They each know their job like super well, and they each know how to do their job super well. Can they sail that ship without a captain effectively, efficiently?
No.
Probably not. That's how you get some chaos, right? Like, there's some direction, there's some leadership that is required. So just think about that. First and foremost, as a leader, like, where are you at? Do you even have a crew? Do you have your team built up around you? And then are they trained? Do you trust them? Do they know their jobs? Or do they share your vision or passion? What if the crew didn't share the captain's vision? They wanted to go somewhere else.
Yeah, we all know what happens when people are going against each other on the same team.
Yeah,
Right.
it's basically mutiny, right?
Yeah.
And it's chaos, and the ship can't go where it needs to. It's so absolutely.
A book that I've recently read is by Patrick Lencioni, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. It's a national bestseller. It's a business parable where he takes a hypothetical team and goes through some common dysfunctions of teams, modern teams. And he creates a triangle. So your foundation is the number one cause of dysfunction, and the top being the result of dysfunction. So at the bottom of the base is you have an absence of trust, where your team does not trust each other, where they shroud themselves in confidence. He calls it a lack of ability to get naked in front of each other, lack of ability to be authentic with each other.
Let me just be clear that we're not telling you to go get naked at work.
Yeah, very clear on that. And so, it creates a sense of invulnerability. And so your team members, they don't trust each other, and they don't want to show weakness. And so that's the foundation of it all. The second level is fear of conflict, where in order to look good, people don't say what needs to be said. In order to not ruffle the feathers of the leader or of someone on the team, not want to offend someone on the team, you don't speak up when you should be speaking up. And so that what he calls artificial harmony, where people say yes, but inside there's resentment, inside there's frustration, and certainly a lack of commitment. Then you get a bunch of people on your team that are compliant.
Yeah, so that's a total integrity issue to me. If you feel like something should be a certain way, or you feel, you got this thought that you want to say, but you basically deny yourself saying it, or you say the opposite of what you're feeling, which is even bigger breach of integrity. I don't have room for breach of integrity in my staff and my crew and my team. Like, I want them to be all in. I want them to know that it's a safe place. It's mind-boggling how often this happens to us, though.
Yeah.
We're afraid we want to look good, or we're afraid, like you said, ruffling the feathers, or oh my gosh, I might lose my job if I say this, or something. That there's no room for that.
Yeah. So that results in that third level of a lack of commitment. So you got a bunch of people that are compliant, that are going through the motions, aren't truly committed, they're out of integrity. And then that leads to the fourth dysfunction, which is avoidance of accountability, where they set low standards. They don't want to be held accountable. They certainly aren't embracing accountability, and ultimately that results in a lack of results, an inattention to results. Individual team members seeking status, individual team members seeking to stroke their ego, having pet projects, personal projects, look at me, and seeking to advance their own career versus the mission of the team. And you see that all the time, unfortunately, in not only the business world. You see it in athletic teams, but like we've given some examples, some powerful examples, you don't see it in the Navy SEALs, and you don't see it in elite athletic teams that are consistent winners.
So how do you fix that? I mean, you're the leader. You've got this, business and you're committed. You're passionate. You're trying to do something in this world, and you see this in your ranks. What do you do?
Well, it starts with you. It starts with you in that bottom level of creating trust.
Absolutely.
And you being authentic. You being in alignment with what you're committed to.
Absolutely.
And you being a person of integrity. Are you a person that can be counted on? Are you a person that honors your word?
That old adage of the buck stops here. I mean, the buck starts here. This responsibility, especially around your own team, if they don't feel safe, if they don't feel like they can be vulnerable with you, and they don't feel they can be authentic with you or with their coworkers, have you, then that's your fault. I mean, if we're going to point fingers, point them right back at yourself. Like, what did you do or not do as a leader that contributed to this culture where you've got this mutiny?
Yeah. Be humble enough where you can admit your weaknesses. Be accountable enough where you can own your own failures as a leader, and take those to your team. Like, you be the one that is the leader of this authentic accountability.
Absolutely. And after you're convinced that you've gone through those steps, I still hold and maintain. Then axe them, whack them. They don't belong there. Maybe they're just, no matter what, they got their own baggage from life that they're bringing with them to work. Then you don't have to deal with that. That's work's not a space unless you've got all the time and the money and you want to rehabilitate people for a living. But unless you're running some sort of psychiatric ward and that's your business, then get out of there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Well, look, we can talk all day about teams, but look, the important thing that I think we should probably conclude on, just as a reminder, is we're committed to trying to do something epic, and we want to help other people do epic things in their lives. Just taking everything up a level or two or three, and to do that, this is why this topic is so awesome. Why we're so passionate about it is because the only way possible is to really surround yourself with a team. I mean, those that you love, that love you, that are around you and your family and friends, those are the same thing. Like, we're talking about team on every level in your life, not just at work. Your friends that you want to go train with or work out with or hang out and play, cards with or whatever it is. Just build yourself a team. And that's how you can take everything to the next level.
Yeah. So if somebody has a physical goal, a workout goal, maybe they want to participate in a triathlon, or they want to run a marathon, or maybe they want to do some cycling event. Create a team around you that will help you be successful. Be really authentic with your strengths and weaknesses, and put people in your team that complement that can help, motivate you, that can encourage you, that can push you, etc.
Oh yeah, it starts with you. And then it's a real close circle of people. It might be the person you sleep with, right? Like, that might be your biggest fan, your biggest co-conspirator, so to speak. Like, you're all in together. That might also be your biggest naysayer. Like, you got to figure that out. But build your team around you, and go for it. Don't compromise your standards. Don't give up on your passion or your dreams. Just go all in. Grab that orange juice can and just eat it. Pop that lid off and squeeze it all in your mouth.
This same thing exists in family relationships, in personal relationships. The team that I'm most committed to is my family. When all is said and done, my relationship with my wife and my relationship with my children is number one to me.
Absolutely.
And, there are people in my team that help me. And, on my team, I consider you a person on my team, as an uncle to my children.
Like a bench warmer? Or
No, the influence, it's not a everyday influence that you have. But when we're together in family events and activities, your way of being with my children, you're a really powerful member of my team where you can say things to them that inspire them to greatness.
Yeah, man, I'm a proud member of your team. Yeah.
Grandparents are a huge part of a team. A grandparent can say things and encourage things and get things out of kids. My kids, they never want to let grandma know that they have some of the weaknesses that mom and dad know about, right? They'll do anything for grandma. And so those are some incredible members of the team. But, be really intentional about you as a parent. What are your strengths as a parent? What are your weaknesses as a parent? And go out and create that. So if you recognize that you have a weakness in a certain area in your parenting and your family, like, look around. Like, who could you invite to be on your team that could complement you and help you with that weakness?
Yeah, and as the leader of that team, if you have some relationships that are struggling, before you start pointing fingers, ask yourself, where did I fail in creating, this sense of trust and vulnerability? And everything we talked about, it applies to your family as well. So examine yourself. Where can I be better? What can I do more? And then just go get it.
That's what makes me so excited about these principles that we discuss, these principles of epic success. They are universal principles that have application in the business world. They have application in your home.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so powerful about them.
And they should be. That's one of the things I love about me and you, Eric, is we're not doing this just for business reasons. I mean, I want my family to be top notch too. I want my relationships, and I want the success in life to extend all the way to, to everything, not just whatever athletic thing I'm trying to train for or what business I'm trying to run. I want to be successful in everything, and we're all in on this family deal. You bet.
Yeah. So as you look at your life right now, look at the teams that you're a member of. What are you contributing to that team? Really look at yourself and what you're doing to create that. Is the team that you have currently the team that is going to take you across the finish line to create that epic result that you're really committed to?
And don't do it alone, guys. Don't do it alone. Unless you want to be small time your whole life, right? Create that team and get after it.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to the Principles of Epic Growth podcast, your path to epic performance and life with incredible growth.